So, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I will give some light from a maker's perspective, from a certain set of questions. So talk about the Ballast Water Management Convention ratification and also the US Coast Guard type approval process. And I will do that by covering the following: a short introduction. I hope that you are familiar with us, but I will anyway give you some perspective. And then I'll talk about legislation, IMO, MEPC 70, US Coast Guard, and also the challenges related to the implementation from a maker's perspective, and also share some lessons learned. So let's get started. We're actually celebrating 100 years this year as a maker in marine industry. We got an order from the US Navy for an oil cleaning separator. We have not been as long as in the ballast water business, of course, but we're also pioneers in the ballast water business, and we started already in 2003. So this is just to give you some perspective, because before going to the coffee break, we had a vote relating the makers being prepared or not, and I think it was a devastating from the point of view of a maker. This is the experience curve that we have. As you can see, we started already in '97 with some research and development, and then we continued the development of the system, and today we have what we call PureBallast 3, and we have sold approximately 1,200 systems, of which 300 are retrofits. So this has given us some experience, of course, some feedback from the market, and a lot of learnings. So this experience is what we have put into the system, giving us the market-leading performance. Because we have had some other inputs today. One was regarding power consumption. We have developed a very efficient system. So relating to US Coast Guard, the system that we have today and the system we have submitted to US Coast Guard has the same power consumption. Okay? And that also is related then to the design of the system and the choices we made when we developed it. So the system, from our point of view, offers few limitations. So for UV system, you talk about the UV transmittance. And we have the lowest currently on the market at full flow, 42%. It's not pending to water quality or temperature. So it's been testing for fresh water, marine water, brackish water. So that is to give the least limitations possible. So from our point of view, a milestone is, of course, the ratification of the IMO Convention. That's a very important step. Also, just before the MEP 70, Panama ratifies. Now it's a majority that has ratified the convention. Other important steps is the entry into force, of course, but also the revised G8. We think the revised G8 is good. Because it puts some more pressure on the makers, and I think for the ship owners it's important to be able to have confidence in the system chosen. That if I've chosen a system, it also brings me performance. It's not about the certificate, it's about the performance the system can give you as a ship owner. And also the dates, as been discussed before, the entry into force is 8th of September next year. So, and I think, I don't remember who said it, but it also said that, have you done the testing according to US Coast Guard? You're well prepared for the revised G8. So we, having done all the US Coast Guard testing, we are confident and hope to be one of the first also to get the revised G8 certificate. So if we start from the back, actually, we start with the last point. We have done a gap analysis together with the Class Society, and the conclusion from that one is that we have one outstanding point, and that is the hold time, and that's also been mentioned. So we already planned to do the revised testing according to the revised G8 in March. So it's well ahead before the entry into force, September. So if anyone is concerned, we expect there to be revised G8 systems at entry into force. Anyone call? No. But there are other some points that come with the revised requirements. And I'm not going into detail, but I think what you can see is that they make sense. So what the industry has been requesting is clarity and some enforcement to the requirements. So we see that the PureBallast 3 will meet with the revised G8, and it's future-proof, so to say. This is probably the hottest topic, listening to the earlier presentations. We are one of the remaining two, or one of the three that submitted the application in September. Officially, US Coast Guard stayed 30 days to come back on the application. I think they also have learnings to do and experiences to make. We do expect to get positive feedback within this year. And it's of course getting fewer and fewer days, but we expect to get some feedback within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And as this is an extract from the blog from Maritime Professionals, we are in close dialogue, both with the class society, but also with the US Coast Guard. So we are closely following the process. Something about the challenges. And of course, what we see is that currently we have had a market where new build has been driving the market mainly. And we have had a few early movers that have installed a system to learn and to evaluate different technologies. So that's been about 1,500 ships a year, approximately 4 units a day. So what's happening now with the ratification is that you will add on top of that some 30,000 vessels. And of course, it's a dramatic change, adding 30,000 vessels. And that would be a challenge for anyone, because you're moving from, let's say, 4 vessels, estimate average installation day, to 20 ships per day. So it's a quite challenging ramp up that you need to do as a maker. And especially if you want to maintain the quality, and you want to maintain the quality in all steps, because as Judd said, main problems can also be in the installation. So even though you have the best system on the market, it's no better than installation done. So what we are doing is that for the product, we're working very closely with our factory, of course, for the ramp up, with our suppliers, but also make sure training, that the people has the right set of skills. For our own organization, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have done some 300 retrofits. So what we have seen is very important is project management, to coordinate between the ship owner, between the yard, between the engineering company, to make sure that it's flowing. So we set up that organization, also technical support, to support the review of drawings, to make sure that installations are correctly done. And then, ultimately, we need to make sure that the partners that we're working with, engineering companies, yards, and so on, have the understanding of our system when designing, when making the installation. So we can maintain the quality in every aspect. So we're working very hard with this to be able to go from the available market of 4 systems a day to 20. And this will also touch on a few things that have been mentioned already. Invest time. Let it take time to do this study, to understand which are the makers on the market. It tends to be more complex and take more time than most people think. So rather than rush, start early. I think you can never start too early, almost. If I'd said that 10 years ago, you would say I was wrong, but I think now is the time to start. Also identify the needs of your fleet. Make sure to match the requirements of the vessel, of the trading pattern, that it works with the system that you want to install. And third, I think that's a point that's sometimes forgotten. Look for a maker with a long-term commitment. And what do we mean with that? That we're looking at the 30,000 retrofit market. But in the end, after that, the market will be very small. Does the customer have the ability for a long-term sustainability on the market? PureBallast is very important for Alfa Laval, but it's also one of 17 products. We have an organization in place. We have service engineers all around the world. So that's very important to make sure that you get the spare parts, you get the technical support long term. And lastly, look at the total cost of ownership. And it's also been mentioned today, but the CapEx installation, the cost of the system itself, yes, is one part. But it's very important to look over time and also the cost for running the system. So to summarize, the way from as a maker's perspective, we have a lot of experience from the marine market, but we also have experience from ballast water and also from making retrofits. We have focused 100% on performance. It needs to provide the ship owners with confidence that it's working and performing as it should. It should not have implications on the business or which charter to take or not to take. And also an easy system that's working well and without minimum interference. And to finish off, look at the organization. Can they support you? Do they have project management to support with you with, technical support, and so on? Thank you.